The camera pushes through dense, dew-laden undergrowth, the rhythmic crunch of unseen boots on damp leaves, cutting through the humid silence of a forgotten thicket. It settles on a derelict sedan, its once vibrant paint faded, caked in years of mud and grime, now entirely swallowed by encroaching wilderness. The passenger door hangs ajar, a silent, gaping maw. Inside, the air is thick, with the metallic tang of rust and the musty scent of decay. A close-up reveals the vehicle's console, specifically the plastic gearshift, its surface deeply scratched, dull, and marred by countless unseen shifts. Beside it, incongruously, lies a single, rusted metal link of a heavy chain, its dull, oxidized surface catching a faint, dying glint of the late afternoon sun filtering through the canopy. This cold, unyielding artifact speaks volumes without a sound, an ominous testament to a terrifying confinement and a chilling recent emptiness that once permeated this secluded, forgotten space. The single, rusted metal link found beside the scratched gear shift is an ominous testament to terrifying confinement and a chilling, recent emptiness in that forgotten sedan. This cold, unyielding artifact, speaking volumes without a sound, foreshadows the profound horror that shattered a Wisconsin town and ignited relentless pursuit of justice. Before we delve into the harrowing details of this case and the vibrant life tragically cut short, if you appreciate real stories like this, subscribe to follow other compelling cases. Our journey now turns to a seemingly ordinary Tuesday evening in 1998, to the last known moments of 12-year-old Jessica Martinez, unaware of the darkness about to engulf her world. Tuesday, October 27, 1998, dawned with a crisp, almost metallic tang in the Wisconsin air, a typical autumn morning that gave no hint of the impending tragedy. 12-year-old Jessica Martinez, a whirlwind of vibrant energy, had navigated her school day with the usual blend of preteen enthusiasm and mild academic complaints. By 6 p.m., the sun was already dipping below the suburban rooftops, casting long purple shadows across the Martinez family's neat lawn. Inside, the kitchen was alive with the comforting clatter of dinner preparations. Jessica, her bright pink sneakers kicked off beneath the table, hunched over her math textbook. Her distinctive purple backpack, a gift from her grandmother, lay open beside her, spilling a scattering of colorful pens and dog-eared notebooks onto the worn linoleum. The rhythmic ticking of the wall clock marked the passage of ordinary moments, each second a precious, unnoticed gift. She meticulously worked through a geometry problem, her brow furrowed in concentration, the scent of simmering tomato sauce from the stove, a familiar backdrop to her focused efforts. As the clock edged closer to 6:45 p.m., a familiar sibling squabble erupted, a testament to the lively, loving chaos of the Martinez household. Jessica, momentarily abandoning her equations, playfully wrestled the television remote from her younger brother Leo, who dramatically protested from his perch on the living room sofa. Their mother, Maria, chuckled softly from the kitchen, wiping her hands on a floral apron, the gentle clinking of pots and pans forming a domestic symphony. The air was thick with the comforting aroma of garlic and herbs, a warmth that radiated from the stove and enveloped the entire space. Jessica, dressed in her favorite faded denim jeans and a cozy forest green fleece pullover, finally secured the remote, a triumphant grin spreading across her face. She then turned to her mother, a quick, affectionate kiss pressed to Maria's cheek, a casual gesture of departure that held no hint of finality. "I'm heading to Emily's," she announced, her voice light and carefree, as she slung her purple backpack over one shoulder. The familiar weight of her purple backpack settled comfortably on Jessica's shoulders, its main compartment holding a half-eaten granola bar and a well-loved paperback novel. She pulled on her scuffed pink sneakers, the laces tied in a double knot. A small ritual before any outing. The front door opened with a soft click, letting in the crisp, cool autumn air that carried the faint scent of burning leaves from a neighbor's yard. Jessica stepped out onto the porch, her breath forming small, fleeting clouds in the twilight. Her father, Ricardo, emerged from the garage, wiping grease from his hands with a rag, having just finished tinkering with the family's older sedan. He offered a warm, customary wave, a silent acknowledgement of her routine trek. "Be back by 9, honey." Maria called out from the doorway, her voice echoing faintly in the gathering dusk. Jessica nodded, a quick, almost imperceptible movement, already focused on the familiar path ahead, a route she had traversed countless times without a second thought. The short walk to Emily's house, just 3 blocks away on Sycamore Street, was a path Jessica knew intimately, every crack in the sidewalk, every rustle of leaves in the mature oak trees. Streetlights, just beginning to hum to life, cast a gentle orange glow onto the quiet suburban street, illuminating the familiar facades of her neighbors' homes. The air grew colder with each step, the last vestiges of daylight fading to a deep indigo. Perhaps she hummed a tune, or mentally rehearsed a story she would share with Emily, her mind alight with the simple, innocent joys of childhood. She passed Mrs. Henderson's prize-winning rose bushes, their last blooms a defiant splash of color against the encroaching chill. No sounds out of the ordinary, no sudden movements, just the rhythmic scuff of her sneakers on the pavement, a sound that would soon vanish into an agonizing silence. This routine, a thread of normalcy woven into the fabric of her young life, was about to be irrevocably severed. By 8 p.m., the crisp autumn air had turned frigid, and a gnawing dread began to settle in the Martinez household. Maria, her hands trembling, made the first of many frantic calls to Emily's house, each unanswered ring amplifying her burgeoning panic. Jessica, always punctual, was now almost an hour overdue. Ricardo, initially trying to calm his wife, felt a cold knot tighten in his stomach as his own calls to neighbors yielded no sightings. The initial 911 call was a desperate plea, Maria's voice cracking with a fear she hadn't known possible. The dispatcher, accustomed to routine calls, initially conveyed a calm, almost dismissive tone, suggesting Jessica might just be running late or at another friend's house, a common assumption that would soon prove tragically naive. This initial skepticism from authorities felt like a cruel dismissal of a mother's instinct, a first, painful crack in the facade of normalcy. Within an hour, however, the gravity of the situation began to permeate the small-town police department. Patrol cars, their blue and red lights flashing silently, started to converge on Sycamore Street, their beams cutting through the inky darkness. News of Jessica's disappearance spread like wildfire through the quiet neighborhood, shattering the illusion of safety. Neighbors, alerted by the sudden police presence and hushed phone calls, spilled out of their homes, their faces etched with concern. What began as a police search quickly morphed into a massive, impromptu community effort. By 9:30 p.m., dozens of flashlights bobbed through darkened yards and along the sidewalks, volunteer search parties forming organically, their collective whispered calls of "Jessica" echoing into the cold, silent night. The scent of damp earth and fear hung heavy in the air, a stark contrast to the earlier evening's domestic warmth. Amidst the escalating chaos, a crucial piece of information emerged, only to be tragically overlooked. Mrs. Peterson, an elderly woman living 2 houses down from Emily's, had been watering her late-blooming petunias around 6:50 p.m. She distinctly recalled seeing a dark sedan, an older model with a noticeable dent on the driver's side, idling briefly near the corner of Sycamore and Elm. Her detailed account, including the car's specific make and an unusual, faint engine sound, was dutifully recorded by an overwhelmed junior officer. However, due to Mrs. Peterson's age and a perceived scattered demeanor during the high-stress interview, her testimony was quickly flagged as unreliable by the lead detective, Thompson, who was already juggling multiple leads and a rapidly expanding search perimeter. This early dismissal would prove to be a devastating misjudgment, allowing a critical clue to fade into the background. As the hours bled into the early morning, another formidable obstacle emerged: the weather. By 11 p.m., a steady, cold drizzle began to fall, quickly intensifying into a relentless heavy rain that lashed against windows and drenched the desperate searchers. The downpour, while a natural occurrence, was a cruel stroke of misfortune for the burgeoning investigation. Every potential tire track near Sycamore Street, every faint footprint that might have led away from Jessica's last known location, was systematically washed away, erased by the incessant sheets of water. In 1998, forensic technology lacked the advanced capabilities available today, making the preservation of such ephemeral evidence paramount. The rain acted as a silent accomplice, meticulously scrubbing the landscape clean of any tangible trace, leaving behind only the profound, agonizing emptiness where clues should have been. Days crawled into weeks, and the initial wave of community solidarity began to fray under the relentless pressure of fear and uncertainty. Rumors, whispered in grocery aisles and schoolyards, spread like an insidious virus. Had Jessica run away? Was it a stranger passing through town? Parents, once comfortable letting their children play unsupervised, now kept them under constant, anxious surveillance. Playdates were canceled, evening walks ceased, and the once lively neighborhood playgrounds stood eerily silent. A palpable tension hung in the air, a collective sense of vulnerability replacing the former trust. Every unfamiliar car, every shadowed figure, became a source of suspicion. The joyful innocence that had defined their suburban existence was irrevocably tainted, replaced by a gnawing fear that somewhere a monster lurked, hidden in plain sight, ready to strike again. The frustrated search efforts continued, but with diminishing hope. Volunteers, exhausted and disheartened, still scoured every ditch, every abandoned building, and every patch of dense woods within a 5-mile radius, their determination battling against an ever-growing despair. Logistical obstacles plagued the operation, coordinating hundreds of untrained civilians, managing false alarms, and covering vast, challenging terrains with limited resources. Each day brought new tips, new directions, each one leading to dead ends, further compounding the anguish of the Martinez family and the police force. The sheer emotional toll was immense, a heavy weight pressing down on everyone involved. The community, once a beacon of neighborly trust, now felt like a fractured reflection of its former self, united only by the agonizing question, where was Jessica? The initial, frantic search for Jessica Martinez soon pivoted into a desperate pursuit of any lead, however faint. One such tip, born from the raw fear gripping the region, came from a waitress at a truck stop along the I-90 corridor, nearly 200 miles away. She reported a dark blue Dodge Ram van, a 90s model, with a distinctive Fishing Wisconsin bumper sticker, idling suspiciously in the lot around the time of Jessica's disappearance. The driver, described as a gaunt man in a soiled baseball cap, had reportedly been asking odd questions. Officers, clinging to this glimmer of hope, immediately mobilized. 2 detectives, Miller and Chang, were dispatched in an unmarked Crown Victoria, the scent of stale coffee and desperation filling the cramped interior as they raced across state lines, their pursuit fueled by a fragile, fervent optimism that this could be the breakthrough. Upon arrival at the sprawling truck stop, a cacophony of diesel fumes and flickering neon signs, the van was indeed located. Its owner, a traveling salesman named Arthur Jenkins, was found soundly asleep in the back, amidst boxes of fishing lures. His alibi, though initially difficult to verify, proved ironclad. He had been meticulously documenting deliveries in northern Minnesota throughout the crucial evening. The hope that had briefly ignited within the police command center, and more painfully in the hearts of Maria and Ricardo Martinez, was extinguished as quickly as it had flared. The lead dissipated into the chill night air, leaving behind only the bitter taste of wasted effort, precious resources diverted, and an even deeper trench of despair for a community already teetering on the edge of emotional exhaustion. Weeks later, another terrifying specter emerged, casting a long shadow over the already traumatized town. A tip from a concerned citizen, Mrs. Albright, from the neighboring community of Elm Creek, pointed to Robert Bobby Jenkins, a recently released ex-convict. Jenkins had moved into a dilapidated rental house on the outskirts of town and possessed a disturbing history, including a prior abduction charge that had been reduced due to insufficient evidence. The revelation sent a chilling tremor through the already fractured community. Parents clutched their children tighter, locking doors that had never before known a key. Detective Thompson, under immense public pressure and haunted by the previous dead ends, diverted significant resources to Jenkins. His mugshot was circulated, his known associates interviewed, and his every movement placed under intense, round-the-clock surveillance, the palpable fear of a predator in their midst hanging heavy in the air. The scrutiny on Robert Jenkins was relentless, his past a dark cloud over his present. For days, his small, unkempt yard was under constant watch. Unmarked cars blending into the quiet street, their occupants sipping lukewarm coffee and observing his every move. Every detail of his recent activities was meticulously cross-referenced, his alibi painstakingly verified. Ultimately, Jenkins' alibi, though initially viewed with suspicion due to his criminal history, proved undeniably solid. He had been working a documented overnight shift at a distant industrial laundry facility, clocking in just minutes before Jessica's disappearance. The community breathed a collective sigh of relief, but for the Martinez family and the weary investigators, it was yet another agonizing return to square one. Each false lead, chipping away at the fragile hope and deepening the well of despair. Years bled into a numbing silence, the initial fervor of the search for Jessica Martinez gradually fading into the quiet despair of a cold case file. But the profound grief of Maria and Ricardo Martinez never diminished, a constant, aching wound. In 2005, 7 years after Jessica vanished, a newly formed cold case unit within the Wisconsin State Patrol decided to revisit the file, a last-ditch effort fueled by advancements in forensic science and a renewed commitment to unresolved disappearances. Heading this meticulous endeavor was Detective Sarah Evans, a sharp, analytical mind with a reputation for unearthing buried truths. Her approach was methodical, almost archaeological, sifting through every piece of original evidence, no matter how insignificant it seemed at the time, driven by a quiet, unwavering hope that a forgotten detail might hold the key. Detective Evans, poring over hundreds of evidence bags in a sterile lab, focused on the seemingly innocuous. Among them, a discarded candy wrapper, found near the corner of Sycamore and Elm, just meters from Jessica's presumed last known location, captured her attention. This small, crinkled piece of plastic had been catalogued but dismissed as common street litter in 1998. Its true potential masked by the limitations of the era's forensic technology. Now, with sophisticated microscopy and materials science, Evans discovered a microscopic synthetic fiber, barely visible to the naked eye, embedded within its folds. This wasn't just any fiber. Preliminary analysis indicated it was a specific type of industrial-grade nylon, a robust material known for its durability and peculiar chemical composition. The discovery of this tiny, almost invisible fiber was a seismic shift in the dormant investigation, a jolt of electricity through years of stagnation. For the Martinez family, it was the first tangible thread of hope in what had become an endless, agonizing void. This wasn't a witness account that could be dismissed, nor a false lead that evaporated. This was concrete, physical evidence, a silent testament to a moment in time. Detective Evans understood its profound significance. This fiber, perhaps transferred from clothing, upholstery, or a tool, could finally connect a person, or at least a specific environment, to the very spot where Jessica had last been seen alive. The case was no longer a ghost. It now had a physical anchor, a new direction. The identification of the fiber as industrial-grade nylon, particularly the type used in specific automotive upholstery and work uniforms prevalent in the late 1990s, allowed Detective Evans to strategically narrow the scope of her investigation. The team meticulously compiled lists of local businesses, auto repair shops, industrial laundries, manufacturing plants, anywhere this specific material might be commonplace. They began revisiting old interview transcripts, looking for any mention of vehicles, workplaces, or even hobbies that aligned with the fiber's unique profile. The quiet hum of computers in the cold case unit replaced the frantic sirens of 1998, as digital databases and advanced analytical tools began to paint a clearer picture, slowly but surely, guiding them closer to a truth long obscured by time and circumstance. The painstaking analysis of the industrial-grade nylon fiber, so tiny yet so pivotal, eventually led Detective Evans and her team down an unexpected path. Its unique weave and chemical markers, when cross-referenced with manufacturing data from the late 1990s, pointed specifically to materials used in the automotive repair industry, particularly in older model vehicles and specialized equipment. The cold case unit began to meticulously examine local businesses, sifting through archived records of auto shops that operated in the Sycamore Street area during 1998. One establishment, Henderson's Auto and Restoration, located just 7 miles from Jessica's home, immediately stood out. Its owner, Michael Henderson, a man in his late 40s at the time of Jessica's disappearance, was a familiar and deeply respected figure in the community, affectionately known by all as Uncle Mike. Uncle Mike was more than just a local mechanic. He was a pillar of the community, a man whose presence was woven into the very fabric of town life. For years, he had coached the local youth baseball team, his booming, jovial laugh a constant fixture at weekend games. Parents trusted him implicitly, often leaving their children under his care during practices, confident in his benevolent nature. He was known for his unwavering generosity, frequently repairing cars for struggling families at little to no cost, and always had a kind word or a piece of practical advice for anyone who needed it. The Martinez family themselves had benefited from his kindness. Just months before Jessica's disappearance, he had helped Ricardo fix a persistent issue with their aging sedan, earning their profound gratitude and trust. The very idea of Michael Henderson being connected to anything sinister felt like a grotesque distortion of reality, a betrayal of everything the community believed in. Yet, the forensic evidence was dispassionate and unyielding. Further investigation into Henderson's shop revealed he had specialized in vintage car restoration, a detail that now took on a chilling new significance. Old inventory logs showed he routinely ordered specific grades of industrial nylon for upholstery and protective coverings, materials that precisely matched the microscopic fiber found near Sycamore Street. The methodical, almost clinical progression of the evidence began to chip away at the carefully constructed image of Uncle Mike, replacing it with an unsettling shadow of doubt, a gnawing suspicion that threatened to unravel the town's deepest held beliefs. The moral twist began to solidify when Detective Evans' team revisited Henderson's personal history, unearthing a disturbing, almost forgotten detail. A misdemeanor assault charge from his younger days, reduced from a more serious charge involving a minor, though the details remained murky and had been quickly dismissed by the community as a youthful indiscretion. This past, combined with the irrefutable forensic link, painted a horrifying new portrait of the man everyone knew, the benevolent Uncle Mike. The trusted coach, the helpful neighbor, was now seen through a terrifying new lens. A potential predator, hidden in plain sight, his kindness a deceptive mask. The revelation was not just a shock, it was a profound trauma, a shattering of communal trust that would forever haunt the quiet streets of their small Wisconsin town. The grainy, flickering security footage from the Shell station on Highway 14, previously dismissed as too low resolution, became Detective Evans' latest obsession. Utilizing cutting-edge digital enhancement software, her team painstakingly scrubbed away the visual noise, revealing the distinct contours of an older model pickup truck, its driver's side door bearing a subtle but unmistakable dent. Crucially, the timestamp placed it precisely at 6:55 p.m. on October 27, 1998, just 10 minutes after Jessica was last seen, and merely blocks from Sycamore Street. This was Michael Henderson's truck, a vehicle known to the entire town. The surveillance leading to his capture was discreet, a team of plainclothes officers meticulously tracking his movements for days. It culminated quietly on a Tuesday morning, as Henderson, a thermos in hand, stepped out of his auto shop. He was apprehended without incident, his usual amiable demeanor replaced by a look of profound, almost theatrical, bewilderment as the officers identified themselves. His truck, parked just meters away, was immediately secured for forensic examination, its interior a potential trove of long-hidden secrets. In the sterile, brightly lit interrogation room, the air thick with the scent of disinfectant and unspoken tension, Michael Henderson sat opposite Detective Evans. His face, usually creased with a friendly smile, remained impassive, almost bewildered. As the officers identified themselves, his hands clasped tightly on the polished, cool surface of the table. Evans, her voice calm and methodical, laid out the irrefutable evidence: the meticulously reanalyzed gas station footage, the microscopic industrial-grade nylon fiber found on the candy wrapper near Sycamore Street, and its precise match to materials found within his auto shop. Henderson initially maintained a steady, almost rehearsed denial, his voice low, insisting on his innocence, portraying himself as a victim of circumstance, a good man wrongly accused. He spoke of his reputation, his years of community service, attempting to weaponize the very trust he had cultivated for decades, his eyes scanning the room, searching for an escape from the tightening net of truth. But as Detective Evans calmly introduced the chilling detail of the rusted metal chain, describing its precise location beside the scratched gearshift in the derelict sedan, a subtle tremor began in Henderson's jaw. The mention of this single, cold artifact, so specific and so intimately connected to the cold open, shattered his carefully constructed facade. His composure crumbled, replaced by a desperate, guttural gasp for air. The words of his confession, fragmented and choked, came out in a torrent of raw, unsettling whispers, painting a horrifying picture of a fleeting impulse that spiraled into an unspeakable nightmare. He admitted to the abduction, to the terror of Jessica's confinement, chained to his vehicle, before her ultimate tragic fate. The silence that followed was deafening, a heavy shroud settling over the room, the weight of his monstrous betrayal echoing in every corner. Michael Henderson's confession brought fractured closure, yet for Maria and Ricardo Martinez, grief remained a deep wound. They transformed sorrow into purpose, establishing the Jessica's Light Foundation, an advocacy for missing children, ensuring her memory ignited change. The quiet Wisconsin town bore an invisible scar. Uncle Mike's betrayal shattered communal trust, replacing innocence with vigilance, hushing playgrounds, locking doors. A small memorial garden, adorned with purple hydrangeas, stands as a poignant, silent testament to Jessica's vanished innocence. Her story became a stark reminder of childhood's fragility, the insidious nature of hidden evils, and the unwavering pursuit of justice that ultimately pierces deception, offering a sobering lesson.